Hello and welcome to another Bunny and Teddy video diary, and this is part 2 of our African Island Adventure series. If you haven't seen part 1 of the series, you might want to go back and see that first, because it explains how and why we went to 2 of the Mascarenhas Islands in the Indian Ocean. We go into detail about our travel day, and we do touch on how we booked our accommodation on both islands. Then, if you like this one and that one, you might want to click subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of all of the rest of this series and beyond. This episode of the series is focused on the apartment that we stayed in when we went to Mauritius back in July of this year. It's in a fabulous location in the town of Quatre Bornes. That's the town where Bunny grew up and lived in until she came to be with me, and it was fabulous because it was just around the corner from the family home. And the other thing was that we were able to help out with Bunny's mum's 80th birthday preparations. Now, when it comes to milestone birthdays for Mauritians, they do take them very seriously, and they can go above and beyond what you would expect a milestone birthday to be here in the UK. Now, in the UK, a milestone birthday, like an 80th birthday, wouldn't be a massive thing for most families unless the family was massive itself. For Bunny's mum, it was like a small wedding reception. We had to help put up the marquees. Then there was a bar at the far side of the garden. Round the other side of the garden is an outside kitchen. In this outside kitchen, the caterers were preparing all the food, and all of the things that were going to be served was in a buffet style. Then there were flowers bought and put out on all the tables where over 40 people were going to be seated to eat the meal. And then there were 2 birthday cakes bought in as well. So the whole setup was geared up to be a very special occasion for everybody to attend, and to have an apartment for us to stay in that was very close to the family home so that we could help prepare all of this was very important to us. So the apartment itself was booked through booking.com, and it's called Home Sweet Home, and it was for 2 weeks. The apartment is set in a block of apartments called Park View, and it quite literally does have a view of the park, which is at the foot of Candos Hill. Now, there are 2 blocks of apartments, each having access through a gate, and this gate is controlled by a button on a fob, but you can have people in an office that's at the side of the gate that's got all the security cameras and all the other sort of gadgets you'd expect with a secure block of flats. In the previous video, I did mention that we hired a car, and within the car park behind the gate you have your own designated parking space, and it's well laid out for both apartments. Here is the car that we hired. It's a Suzuki Swift automatic. It wasn't the best car in the world, but once I got used to it, it was okay. I mean, I don't drive automatic cars in the UK, so it took a lot for me personally of getting used to. So as I just said, to get through this gate, you're giving keys. You've got, well, the keys to the apartment on it, but you've also got this 4-buttoned fob thing, and when you press number 1, the gate will open, and you have to press it again to close the gate. As you leave your car in your car park space, you will go up to the door of the block, and you will see a key code pad, and you will be given obviously the code to the block. Now, we did have assistance from the family before we arrived in Mauritius. Family organised food and other provisions with the host so that they could shop and then bring it into the apartment before we got there. So the host had to give the family the keys to the apartment. So when we got to Mauritius, the family members picked us up from the airport, and after a little bit of a meet and greet at the family home, they took us round to the apartment. So apart from WhatsApp messages with the host, we didn't see them. But the host is very nice. She's very friendly and accommodating, as you can see with our experience. And once inside the apartment block, you'll notice all the apartments have these wooden boxes, post boxes on the wall on the left. And directly opposite that set of boxes, you've got the lift. And you want the 3rd floor. So once you leave the lift, you walk round to your left and you will come to number 33. The door to the apartment is double locked, so you will need to turn your key twice to unlock all the, well, locks on the door. And obviously you'd have to do that again when you leave the apartment. Now before I take you around the apartment, I've got to point out that we actually stayed there twice. When we first got to Mauritius, we stayed at the apartment between the 19th and the 23rd of June. Early morning on the 24th of June, we left the apartment to go and stay on the island of Rodrigues until the 27th of June. And on the eve of that day, we returned to the apartment. Having mentioned the fact that the host is very accommodating, she allowed us to keep our luggage within the apartment, knowing that we were going to come back. So all we had to do was pack a little bag or two for our stay on Rodrigues Island, and the rest of our luggage was left in one of the bedrooms of the apartment. When we got back, we noticed the changes that were made to the apartment, because I pointed out 1 or 2 issues before we left for Rodrigues, and the host investigated these and got them sorted out for when we got back. So during the tour, I'm going to point out these bits and what changed for when we got back, because I didn't do another tour of the apartment when we got back from Rodrigues. So let's get straight into that tour of the apartment. So here is the tour of the apartment. As I was saying, the door is double locked. You probably saw that there. You've got the keys to the apartment on this fob thing, and the number 1 on that little 4-button panel opens the gate, and that's your key to the apartment. So I think there's other keys on there, isn't there? So one must open the door to the, well, you'll notice there is a door from one bedroom onto the balcony, so I bet that's the other key there. Nice big tables. I think it's a set of 2, I think it is, possibly. Now first things first, look at the plugs there on the left. I'll be mentioning them a lot because that was one of the changes, and you'll notice that we've plugged in our toothbrush charger there using a adapter. And the thing is, with the plugs, there are examples of both Mauritian and British plugs. Here's the dining area. Of course we've messed it up a bit, but it does seat a good 4 people. With the apartment having 2 bedrooms, you'd need that, but it's nicely set out, good table, and lots of cupboard space, as you will see. The toaster is also theirs. They leave pods for the coffee machine that's on the other side of the kitchen, and we'll show you that. And as I say, the cupboards were bare. There's some water that were bought in, some milk. You'll get cartoned milk from supermarkets. It's best to buy bottled water. You can't use their water. Nice set of pots and pans to be had, and that bottle of oil I think was left there in that cupboard. And as you can see, there's a 2-pin plug for the toaster, and they have their own adapters on the right there, but that 2-pin thing there on the left, it didn't like the 2-pin of the toaster, so we had to use the one on the right. You've got a mini hob there with the 2 bigger ones. We never cooked as such, but it's nicely equipped with a cooker and then below you've got all the crockery, and you've got 2 drawers of that sort of thing going on. Good selection of items. On this you've got another cupboard space to put provisions in, probably tins and so forth maybe. You've got a good LG microwave. I think we used it 2 or 3 times. Now you'll see why you've got one of these in a minute. Obviously that's for a water cooler, which you have behind me as I'm showing you now. Another drawer space, I'm not sure what that is. More cupboard space on top. Got glassware up here, more glassware empty, again for probably your own food stuff. So that's vanilla tea. Corson is a typical brand of tea in Mauritius. Here's the espresso coffee machine. I don't think we ever used it. You've got a bean grinder as well alongside it, but it's a nice touch, I suppose, to have those sort of items in the room. As you can see, here's a typical example of 2 sets of plug sockets for 2 different types of appliance. I think they actually did work. That one does go in pretty well, but the other one, as I say, by the where we were charging the toothbrush earlier, it didn't do it. Good sinks. Water was good, okay. That's a typical shop washing up liquid there, Crest, rather than a toothpaste over here, of course. And as you can see, this plug socket is actually taped up. That operates the kettle okay, but you can see that there's a problem. Windows to let out whatever steams and stuff. I can't reach these cupboards, I don't think I open any, do I? There's your bin, and there's the water cooler coming up beside it. And as you can see, we're halfway through there. I think it was halfway through anyway, but that's why we've got another one set up soon. And we did actually swap it for the other one. Good size freezer. The fridge well stocked, as I said before, by the family, although we did give them a list of things to get. Into the lounge area, that's a nice area to sit in. The sofas and chairs are fairly comfortable, not bad at all. Nice size coffee table. There are coasters on the dining table if you wanted more, of course. The TV cabinet, they're all books, and I think they're a bit of DVD. You've got the Wi-Fi bit there. The TV's pretty good, but again, you've got to be into that sort of TV, well, their TV, if you know what I mean. Now the balcony was another issue, and I'll tell you more about the balcony, but as you can see, if it's nice weather and everything, you'll be sitting out there with your coffee or wine, whatever you want to drink, because if it is wine, you've got that table in the middle that actually acts as a water cooler. You've got the aircon units either side of the balcony, which obviously service the apartment very well. Park bit is quite good. It's a wellness park, and it has gym equipment set up on the park there. Behind the TV is another plug board, so you got 2 more plug sockets if you needed them for any appliances you've got. A nice big mirror to sort yourself out with. Then this is the first of 2 bathrooms. Good sized cupboard space, or cabinet space should I say, and you'll see a pile of washing because there is a washer dryer in here with cleaning equipment, if you like, and a bin. You've got good sink and cupboard space again, pretty solid stuff. Did come with these items in the cupboard. Toilet's okay. You got the airer for your washing, but we eventually used the dryer, so we didn't need that. So onto this shower in this bathroom. The big towel you see there, we did actually use more than any other towel to dry ourselves after having a shower. I'll just put that there so I can get inside the shower for you. There we are. 2 heads, as they normally are nowadays, really, aren't they? You've got the soap dispenser there, but we've got a nice tray for your own shower gel, sponge, etc. Floor was nicely done, no defects, drains away well. and the window for a bit of ventilation. Just mentioned the cabinet space, quite a nice set of shelves to use in each cabinet in each of the 2 bathrooms. To be fair, I think they are both the same configurations. Here's the other bathroom, and as I say, the sink and cupboard, the virtually the same. The tap didn't work. I don't think we told the host about that actually. This is the shower unit that we did use the most. Same configuration again, as I say, with the 2 heads, the soap dispenser. The floor's slightly different in terms of its shape. You've got the tray for all your shower gels, sponges, shampoos, whatever, and the toilet is actually at the side of the shower cubicle. And for us it was a better bathroom all round. This is the bedroom we used, as you can probably tell by the state of the bed. It had bedside tables either side. We took one of the lamps off this table due to the fact that the bunny has to use her CPAP machine. The wardrobes are very big. They had shelving space in this unit, and then these 2 units there was hanging as well as shelving. The bed is a small double, I would say, and we like it that way. If you remember the key on the key fob, it opens that door as well as the front door. There is a key on there for it. The view from the room is of the park, as it is in every room, and it's a nice area to exercise in. That is Candos Hill in the background. Into the second bedroom then, it's identical as the other one, but if you were wanting to go loo in the night, you'd have to go all the way through the lounge and dining area to get to one of the bathrooms. So we've found that to be a bit iffy at night, but there are lights in the lounge area that you could use, but we decided to stick with that one nearer the bathrooms. But as you can see, it's a nice room again the same size bed, 2 bedside tables with lamps, and that's how each room actually is laid out before you start messing with one, shall we say. And the view from this room is of trees mostly. You get to see the park on the right side and a little bit more of the hill as well, but essentially about the same as the other room. As I say, 2 bedside tables. The lamps didn't work in our room as such, but this one does, and again it depends on the plug sockets on the walls. You've got 2 more plug sockets down here, which are British if you like, 3-pin, and with this one again the lamp does work, I believe, yes, and their 2-pin plug fits in the 3, funnily enough, in that one. We didn't use, you see that vape stuff on the table, we didn't actually use it. There's confirmation of the 2-pin going in the 3, it's in the bottom 2 of the 3 there, but we didn't need to use the vape throughout our visit. Ironing board down the side, same configuration of shelves and hanging space, well, I think more actually seem to be more shelves in that one, and indeed the iron is on the top shelf. That's your bedroom, and in fact that is more or less the tour done, as I'm finishing off there for you. So that's the tour of the apartment, and I've got to say on behalf of me and the bunny that we enjoyed our stay immensely. It proved to be the most practical, useful, enjoyable, peaceful stay, and we were very fortunate to have found such a place like this in such a busy, loud town of Quatre Bornes. Now if you were thinking of a self-catering holiday in Mauritius, it can be done, but you might want to do some research on where to buy your provisions from, because it can be rather expensive if you don't know where to go. Now there are plenty of shopping malls like Triana, Tribeca, Bagatelle. All these shopping malls, they have their supermarkets, they have their little cafes, restaurants, and everything else you would expect of a shopping mall. But you might want to consider street food vendors or the market to get some more value for your food, particularly fruit and vegetables. stores. But if you are shopping in a supermarket, then obviously they will be better products, safer products to buy and use. But look for the supermarket brand, because the bigger names are going to be imported products which may well be more expensive than the local products. Another little tip is that you might want to consider buying frozen fruit and veg, because fresh fruit and veg and possibly even fish and meat products are very expensive, and if you are a meat eater you might just want to eat chicken. So to get a feel for all that, I'll leave links in the description of places that offer a list of all like prices and stuff. So one of a typical supermarket like Winners, and then there's this new debit card Wise. I mean, this is an advert for it, but on their website I've put a link in there that actually gives you a list of everything that you would probably be thinking of if you were going to be living in Mauritius. So it does give you an idea of what things cost. Also, go on YouTube and check out some supermarket videos that people have done. So that's about it for this one then, guys. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with people that you know who might be going to Mauritius, leave us a comment about this one. And if you want to see more of the same, there are plenty of videos about this sort of thing with more to come. So click subscribe, hit the bell to be notified for the rest of the series, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.